Welcome to the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by Shekina community members. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode show notes and other information at shekinacommunity.com.
Hello, this is Ro.
And this is Ray.
And it's episode 82 of the podcast.
And it's Friday the 17th of July
Yes,
as we record this. We are sitting in the garden after meditation.
It's quite warm, sunny, clouds hugging the mountains.
As
Beautiful.
green as you can possibly imagine. We can't keep the things trimmed back.
Nope.
They just grow and grow. Yeah, it's that extra growing season. Very lovely.
Listeners, this podcast is supported by you. You, I tell you. Because this podcast is about meditation, we want to keep it ad-free. Our beloved patrons over at patreon.com support us for as little as $1 a month. You can find us at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast.
And another way that you can support us is by rating or reviewing us on iTunes.
Yeah.
You can tell a friend.
Yeah.
Email it around.
You could send them a screenshot of the one that you just listened to.
Yeah.
And say, oh, this one was great.
Yeah, share it on Instagram. Whatever you feel.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping us.
So supporting this podcast helps to keep our communities, our Shekina communities, running and free for travelers and spiritual seekers. And it helps us know that you appreciate what we're doing in putting this podcast into the world.
We feel so appreciated when you support us.
Yeah, it's great. We're the best patrons.
You are like a crepe myrtle. Do you know what a crepe myrtle is?
Oh, they're so beautiful. Do you know what they are? They are beautiful.
It's a beautiful tree, and it has crepey flowers and very bright. You are like that, like a splash of magenta into the world.
We can see one right now in the distance on the fence line, and it's glorious. You're like that.
We planted it, and it blossomed for the first time last year, and this year it's even doing better. And it's beautiful, and you are like that.
We appreciate it. Thank you for supporting us. It really does help.
You can find that link, if you're listening on YouTube, it's right there in the description, or if you want to go to the blog, you can find it right there, shekinacommunity.com. You can find the Patreon link there. Yes.
So tell me about your week, Rachel. What's been happening this week?
It feels like it's probably been similar to your week, Ro.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we don't spend every waking moment together. Well, we got up to lots of fun things this week. We gardened. You were working away in the prickle patch, and you got a bit prickled.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Whenever I'm telling anyone about weeding in this specific area that we call the prickle patch, we call it that because it's full of dragon fruit and pineapples and prickly type plants.
Dragon fruit grows on something kind of like a cactus.
Yeah, it's super spiky, quite painfully spiky.
Yeah.
I always tell people to be really careful in there and wear gloves and all that sort of thing. And then when I work in there, I'm not careful and I get spiked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, you told me to be careful in there because I was working there last week. And I didn't get spiked because I was careful because I listened to you.
I should have listened to myself, shouldn't I?
Yes.
That's the lesson for today.
You should. But it looks beautiful. It's all weeded and it's got straw on the ground and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I started working on writing out a sign for our labyrinth so that the wording of the sign, and Neil started putting the wood of the sign together so it can be painted so that if people come here when we're not here, they can use the labyrinth.
Yeah. Because lots of folks are around but might not make it to meditation, like if they're not a morning person or whatever. And yeah, we want people to be able to really make use of that beautiful space. And yeah, a little sign with some ideas is awesome.
So when we're done with that, we'll take a photo and you can see it.
Oh, good idea. Love it.
Yeah, we had another Jesus Storybook Bible Women's Circle that was beautiful.
Yep.
Very beautiful.
Yep.
And we did meditation today.
Yeah, and we had a really sweet meditation this morning, and a little just moment of drama in our week last night.
Oh, right.
Where we heard that there might be flooding, which is a little early in the season for that, but we are a little bit paranoid because we got hit so hard last year with floods. So yeah, some of us were not online and didn't get the message to come and help you guys, but you amazing Fords rushed down here and put all the tools and all the kitchen stuff and the fridge and all the
Everything's up
worthwhile
high.
things up high on the benches late in the night. So we appreciate that work that you did. And we also appreciate the fact that it did not flood at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were talking this morning about how the best case scenario is if we do annoying preparation and nothing happens.
Yep, that's the best.
Yeah, it's weird when you're preparing for a disaster because you put a lot of work into it, but the best thing is if it's completely unjustified work.
Yep, which is kind of weird, but we all know how much of a pain it would be.
It would be terrible. We're going to keep working.
Yeah.
And then hope that it's not needed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, our bridge kind of went out this week. Well, it's sort of buckled.
Yeah, last night when Chanu and I were looking at the water to see how high it was, he was like, why does that bridge go down in the middle? I was like, it's broken.
Oh, it's totally broken.
Gone. Yeah.
It's on its way out.
It's on its way out. So today's episode is a Lectio Divina on Isaiah 35, verses 3 to 8. It's guided by Neil and recorded here in Pai, Thailand at the garden, surrounded by butterflies and birds.
And so the first part of the meditation, Neil will guide us just in preparing our minds and our bodies for meditation, just using some visualization and breath and helping us be present to the moment. And then the second part of the meditation is Neil reading through the verses a number of times with lots of silence and, just space to listen to the divine presence and see what God might say to us through those verses.
Yes, and for the third part, again, it's a sharing time, or a processing time. So you can either share with the people you're with, if you're with people, taking time to really listen to each other, and you can do that interruption-free by passing an object that means that you get to talk when you have that object, and nobody else gets to. And passing that around maybe twice to hear, first and second thoughts. Or if you're by yourself, find a way to process on your own, like journaling, singing, coloring, drawing, recording yourself, however it is, something that will take the meditation farther with you, something that you can kind of really bring it in.
Yeah. So let's begin.
Well, let's begin by finding a comfortable position to sit, preferably with a straight back, and close your eyes. And bring your attention to your breath. Just breathing normally and comfortably. Feel the sensations of the air entering your body, filling up your lungs, and then it coming out again. Those gentle sensations. You might like to take a few deeper breaths, and with each exhale, kind of have a sigh with it. Just breathe out a bit quicker and a bit more relaxing, I guess. Settle into your seat. And begin to focus more on your body. Search your body for sensation. How do your clothes feel on your skin? Or if there is a breeze, pay attention to these sensations. All the while being aware of your breath. Are there any aches and pains in your body? Stiff muscles or sore joints? You might want to spend a few moments stretching or moving your body to ease those tensions. Breathing in and exhaling as you stretch. Loosening your body and feeling your body relax a little more. And as you breathe, expand your awareness beyond your body to the sounds around you. What can you hear? The sounds of birds and of nature. The sounds of people or machines. Spend a few moments to explore the soundscape around you. And although we sit in silence, these sounds around us are always present. And in the same way, our breath is always present. We're always breathing. But perhaps our minds and our hearts are not present yet. So I encourage you to, in your mind, in your imagination, imagine a sheet of cloth laid out before you, not too large, something beautiful. It's laid out flat before you. We've all come from different experiences of today to be here in this meditation. And that experience has brought joys or concerns, has brought us things to do, things that might distract us, take our hearts and minds away from this time. So I encourage you to, as you sit, let these things come to mind. Let these joys or concerns or things to do come to mind, one by one, and imagine them in your hand, or in your hands before you. Acknowledge them. There's no need to diminish them or to judge them. They are what they are, and that's fine. But one by one, take these things and place them on the sheet of material in front of you. Perhaps they are clear things that you can imagine. Or perhaps they are just emotions that take no real form or clear form. Whatever they may be purposeful in placing them onto the sheet in front of you. Perhaps there's only a few things on your sheet, or perhaps there's many things, and you're still going. Spend just a few more moments to place all of these things on the sheet. And when you're finished, take the corners of the sheet and fold them over these things, wrap them up, and tie the corners to each other to make a little bundle. And when you're ready, take this little bundle and place it behind you, out of sight and out of mind. Our intention for this meditation is to create a clear space with no distractions, a place to be present, a place just to be. And when you've placed your bundle behind your back, come back to your breath. If at any time during the meditation these thoughts or a new thought comes along to distract you, that's okay. Just take that thought and place it behind you and come back to your breath. And in this moment of being, this presence of being now, I invite you to be aware of the presence of God, of the presence of the divine. Jesus, when he began his ministry, declared that the kingdom of God is near or is at hand. God is always near, always present among us. But like our breath, we may not be aware of this presence. So take a moment to acknowledge the presence of God among us. This style of meditation can simply be described as listening to the words of God in the presence of God. So as we turn to the words, I invite you to be mindful of the presence as we hear these words. The passage comes from Isaiah chapter 35. And in this first reading, just allow your imagination to build the scene as it unfolds. Isaiah says, "Strengthen the feeble hands, steady the knees that give way. Say to those with fearful hearts, be strong, do not fear. Your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. Then will the eyes of the blind be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then will the lame leap like a deer, and the mute tongue shout for joy. Water will gush forth in the wilderness, and streams in the desert. The burning sand will become a pool, the thirsty ground bubbling springs. In the haunts where jackals once lay, grass and reeds and papyrus will grow. and a highway will be there. And it will be called the way of holiness. The unclean will not journey on it. It will be for those who walk in that way. Was there anything that stood out for you? Perhaps some questions? What did you see in your imagination? For the second reading, I encourage you to begin to explore deeper these questions or these things that stood out for you. If you feel comfortable, perhaps you might like to ask the Divine, the presence of God among us, to illuminate some things for you as you hear these words again. Isaiah says, "Strengthen the feeble hands, steady the knees that give way." Strengthen the feeble hands, steady the knees that give way. Say to those with fearful hearts, "Be strong, do not fear, your God will come." Say to those with fearful hearts, "Be strong, do not fear, your God will come." He will, he will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. Then will the eyes of the blind be open, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then will the eyes of the blind be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then will the lame leap like a deer, and the mute tongue shout for joy. Then will the lame leap like a deer, and the mute tongue shout for joy. Water will gush forth in the wilderness, and streams in the desert. The burning sand will become a pool, the thirsty ground bubbling springs. Water will gush forth in the wilderness, and streams in the desert. The burning sand will become a pool, the thirsty ground bubbling springs. In the haunts where the jackals once lay, grass and reeds and papyrus will grow. In the haunts where jackals once lay, grass and reeds and papyrus will grow. And a highway will be there. It will be called the Way of Holiness. And a highway will be there. It will be called the Way of Holiness. The unclean will not journey on it. It will be for those who walk in that way. The unclean will not journey on it. It will be for those who walk in that way. the final reading, if there was anything that came up for you or was illuminated for you, I encourage you to, during the reading, to have a posture of giving back, of prayer to God, to the divine. These words I hope, have given something to you. So I encourage you to offer them back to God. To pray these things back to God. Strengthen the feeble hands. Steady the knees that give way. Say to those with fearful hearts, be strong, do not fear. Your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come to save you. Then will the eyes of the blind be opened. And the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then the lame will leap like a deer, and the mute tongue shout for joy. Water will gush forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. The burning sand will become a pool, the thirsty ground bubbling springs. In the haunts where jackals once lay, grass and reeds and papyrus will grow. And a highway will be there. It will be called the Way of Holiness. The unclean will not journey on it. It will be for those who walk in that way. As this part of the meditation comes to an end, you might like to, or I encourage you, to offer a prayer of thanks, a simple prayer of thanks to God for this time. And then become aware of your breath again, with a series of maybe 5 deeper breaths. Become aware of the sensations in your body. Become aware of the sounds around you. And as you continue to breathe, become aware of the people around you. And in your own time, rejoin the circle. And as a sign of rejoining the circle, open your eyes.
Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation available each week, so don't forget to subscribe to iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Also, you can rate or review on iTunes or sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. Have a beautiful week. Many blessings to you.